Good morning, everyone, and welcome from a snowy South Jersey market here. Watching the snow coming down uh, this morning. We are coming here live at the Creative Bird Strategies podcast and house here on Clubhouse, providing you education, networking, and strategy. Just getting myself set up a little bit here, real quick, and we'll get rocking and rolling. Let's see here, and we'll going to be discussing the property management, the new deal or the deal killer. So let's get rocking and rolling here and invite some peeps in and get our moderators going. And we'll get rolling here in just a minute. Hold on one second. Give me a second here. Trying to invite people in. There you go. Very, very busy week. I was just talking to Yordell from Percatech, one of our main sponsors here. Like the week just kind of flew by, and it felt like it was like 2 weeks instead of 1 week. It was like a very compact week leading up to the almighty storm we're having here. So we're just going to invite some people in to Clubhouse and get moving here in just a few minutes on our discussion, our update to the market. I always want to thank Mr. Yordell Perkins, our co-founder and co-host. Very excited. We celebrated our 10,000th download of our podcast, so we're cranking it out. 2 years, 150 episodes plus. We're really providing, I hope, some really good information for people and good educational content. And I think, we're going to keep it moving, with different subject matter. We might switch things around. We are on 300 groups in Facebook live at the same time while we're telecasting this, which is kind of interesting. Then we are going to look at potentially doing it live on LinkedIn versus Facebook just to see if it does anything. But I thought about this last year. We're at 2 years with the podcast. We have a website with all the episodes loaded up to it. We have events. We teach white label underwriting courses for real estate professionals. Um, we now have a newsletter. So I don't know if we're all connected on LinkedIn, but we're all on a newsletter, which is kind of cool. And we put out articles almost every single day, and the following's now to like 4,000 or 5,000 people, which is kind of amazing. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, we put a lot of the content that we provide through this podcast. It helps it stimulate me putting together newsletters. I've actually now been asked to provide the newsletters to other real estate investor groups that are looking for content as well. So it's pretty cool how this podcast has kind of like stimulated relationships and brought up really good connections. It's not all about just the podcast itself, it's about the people you meet and the knowledge base of information. And I think today's subject is rather important as people are growing out their portfolio or thinking about scaling. Like last week, I met with a client that owns like 15, 20 properties, and he's just very frustrated. Should he bring in property management? Should he bring in property maintenance? Should he still stay self-managing? You could just see the frustration in his face. Is he profitable? What scares me sometimes is some landlords don't know if they're profitable or not, in their deals. And that makes me a little nervous. And that takes a finesse of underwriting. And property management is key of providing those type of reports as well. So first, I'd like to just, again, thank Yordell Perkins of Percatech, who provides all the social media platform for the podcast, for the websites, for the events that we're holding, the underwriting courses that we're providing. It's been a great ride going into the new year. We are going to keep pushing this subject matter as well. We're going to come up with different subjects, of course, and there's something we're not touching. By all means, please feel free to reach out to me directly. So let's get updated with the market before we get into the subject at hand. Mortgage rates closed out extremely flat this week. Okay, the base rate, it was coming down, it's moving around. Right now the conventional rates finished off at around 6.19. your commercial rate for 30-year money, max LTV, you're in the sixes, mid sixes. You could buy down the rate if you really wanted to, but you're in that six range. I don't see a lot of things happening. I mean, the numbers for the economy are very good. Inflation's down. The job claims are down. Jobless job claims. Uh, um, Treasury yields look good. All the different things that are shown, like home sales decreased a little bit. I mean, I went to a state of a market a presentation in Philadelphia this past week, and they sugarcoated it. I mean, days on the market are up to 4 or 5 months. Inventory's up 20%. Um, it's definitely evolving. We're definitely they didn't want to really outright say it. We're in a buyer's market. We're an investor's market. But people are holding tough with their listings. They're not coming down. The condo market has taken a shot in the ass, which is really interesting watching that. So, because I'm negotiating buying a condo for myself, Shore Point condo, and it's unbelievable how tough these realtors are playing. This listing's been on the market 200 days, and they're making it like it's just fresh off on the market. So very interesting. I would say the arrogance of some of the real estate agent professionals fighting to keep the prices up while you're seeing days on the market and numbers dropping. Um, I was very surprised at that state of the market discussion where I was at this past week that they did not really emphasize how important for the real estate agent to focus with the real estate investor. They kind of go for the luxury listings and get very unique with the condo market. No, no, no. You got to entrench yourself in the investor market. It's a buyer's market. It's an investor market. Where are your investors? Where are your wholesalers? Where are your off-market deals for your peeps? Like, I was like, what are they saying here? Like the irony is one of the individuals that was the panelist just opened a new office for himself, a new brokerage, even though he's with the KW office where I was sitting at. He's opening an office for himself in Pittsburgh. And what, if anybody knows on this call or in this podcast, Pittsburgh is one of the hottest rental markets in the country, top 25 every year for the last 20 years. So he basically outright was saying, hey, I'm not doing the type of business I was once doing here in Philadelphia. I'm going to work with more investors in Pittsburgh. I was like, what the heck is going on here? I thought I was like in a delusional space. But hey, listen, I digress. We're going to tie into the property management, and we get some updates on some other articles that caught my eye this week. Um, let's see here. Home ownership beats renting in most counties, but rising prices complicate the math. Right now, I can tell you for a fact, in a market like Philadelphia, you could rent a two-bedroom, two-bath in the center city for $1,600 a month. I don't know. That seems pretty. It seems like now, yet again, we're back to 2009, 2010. We are now in the where it's more expensive to rent in the suburbs than in the city. You can get a one bedroom for $1,200 a month. Beautiful with gym, conveniences. It's so you think Philadelphia is any different than the other medium-sized markets in the country? No, there's definitely a huge opportunity here um, as we're kind of dipping down, and we're going to start seeing some values leveling off. We are seeing them already. That was an interesting article caught my eye. Next article that caught my eye was office space conversions on the rise in effort to expand housing. But how much housing can we provide if all these offices are now apartments? And where's the offices going to sit? Where are people going to work? I'd be a little concerned about the gluttony of of of, of too much inventory in some circumstances, right? I have a feeling that we're going to have too many apartments in Philadelphia. When I'm starting to see rents so inexpensively to live in Center City, makes me a little nervous where we are. And if a lot of you don't remember, 2009, 2010, we slumped in that rental market. So it'll be interesting to watch where we are. So that was another interesting article. Zillow puts Hartford, Connecticut at one of the top markets to buy in 2026. It beat out Buffalo, New York. Providence, Rhode Island's up there. San Jose, California is out there. Let's see if anything else caught my eye there. No, but Hartford moved up past Buffalo. And I'm up in Hartford probably once a month for networking purposes, and it's a very active market to say the least. So I'm not surprised there. So let's dive into our discussion here. Property management, the deal or the deal killer. And we'll get to our moderators, of course. Property management doesn't just support the deal, it decides the deal. I've seen strong acquisitions turn weak and average assets outperform all because of who's running the day-to-day operations. Why property management makes or breaks returns? Number one, NOI is operational, not theoretical. Performers don't collect rent. Property managers do. Late fees, renewals, vacancy loss, utility recovery, and expense control live in operations, sorry about that. And bad management hides risks. Deferred maintenance, poor tenant screening, sloppy books equals false confidence. Deals look fine until a capex explodes post-close. Good management creates value without renovation. Rent optimization, expense audits, utility rubs, lease enforcement, tenant retention. These moves alone can reprice an asset. Lenders underwrite the manager, not just the borrower. I'm always looking up the property managers who are managing these properties. DSCR, bridge, agency, private capital all care who's executing. Weak management equals tighter leverage, higher pricing, or no deal. Scale demands systems, not hustle. Self-management caps growth. Professional management enables portfolios, not just properties. Bottom line, you don't buy real estate, you buy operations. If the property manager can't execute, the deal doesn't matter. Before you sign the contract, vet the manager like a partner because they are one. Stephen, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to property management, the new deal or deal killer.
Hey, thanks, Joe. And yes, Steve Franco, REI homepage, get much deeper into education, also focusing on my brokerage growth and on my wholesale brokerage growth as well. And finally, on just buying property. I'm seeing, you're right, that the deals should be coming more fast and furious, and the ice is starting to crack. I just got an interesting one in Pittsburgh. But these sellers and these agents are just like, I know we're dying. I know we're about to be foreclosed on, but I need full retail value or else I won't sell. All right, well, then let the bank take your house. So property management, I mean, as you know, property management is one of the companies we do. And I had this thought last night when I looked at today's topic. Property management never does what's happen. You may manage it yourself. You may hire someone else to manage it. But property management as a situation never goes away. And so I have from day one, I read this book, 15 years ago, and we always bill for management, even when we didn't have a management company, even we self-managed, because it's another job. Your profit should be your profit. And the service of property management, whether you do it or somebody else does it, should be paid for. Now, it is a huge decision when you go from, like we did for years, I'm doing everything. I'm managing them, I'm fixing them, I'm doing everything, to, outsourcing. And if you don't, will kill you. Our first two property managers took our operation from 98% occupied, 98% paying to 45 in each category because we were too busy preparing for a baby to be watching the ship. You got to watch your ship. You got to pick your managers correctly. But reality is you're paying for property management anyway. It's either coming out of your profit line item because you're wasting your time, or it's coming out of a separate line item. So it needs to be done. And the last thought on that is make sure your property manager has systems and backup systems for everything. We have Vendaroo handling the primary maintenance booking. But then, of course, there is the fallback to us. We, at the end of the day, we're the last line of defense before the owner. And the only thing the owner should be doing is hopefully just cashing checks, hopefully just one thing, but periodically just check in. Go onto your portal, look at what vendor is doing, look at what your income and expenses are doing, look at all the information, and make sure your property manager is not drifting. Make sure they're not ignoring repairs. They're not churning extra repairs. Don't have to be a rocket scientist, just glance it over. But I think, just to go back to what I think a professional property manager team frees you up. The last thing is my lesson to everyone is the suck zone starts around 5 units and goes to about 20. And that's when, if you're doing it yourself, trying to keep a real job, you're going to hate your life because that's just too much. Once you get to 20, you might be able to quit your job and maybe you're can do it yourself. But in that suck zone is where you're going to really wonder: do I go to a property manager and scale, or do I stay where I'm at and eventually cry my way and sell my properties? That's at least been what I've been seeing in my market.
Steve, thank you very much. And how's the weather up there in sunny Northeast Pennsylvania?
It's starting to snow a little bit. Looks like we have about an inch or so out there, but I'm not planning on going anywhere until we go sledding. So
yeah,
how about down your way?
It's definitely 3 inches or so, but it's a thinner snow where it's going to stay longer around. They say this is going to snow probably into tomorrow, so it'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, so stay careful, stay warm, and thank you for your insight this morning. It's funny. My real estate licenses in Pennsylvania are held at a property management company. Their geographic footprint has increased to like 14 different markets now, like within the last 12 to 14 months. So there's obviously a need for property management for either in-state, meaning more local landlord, or out-of-state landlord. And from what Steve was saying, like, owning rental property is never just about acquisition price or interest rate. Execution happens after closing. And property management looks very different depending on whether you're local or managing from afar. The local landlord obviously has hands-on control and some advantages: direct oversight of the property condition, faster response to maintenance and tenant issues, stronger relationships with the tenants and vendors, ability to self-manage or hybrid manage, better feel for neighborhood dynamics. So now, some of the challenges are time-intensive, emotional involvement with the tenants, scaling beyond a few properties becomes difficult, less average if you're the bottleneck. Best fit for new investors, small portfolio, value add, heavy rehab properties, and investor prioritizing control over scale. Now, the out of state landlord, systems over presence. The advantages are geographic diversification, ability to invest where numbers work, not where you live, easier portfolio scaling, reduced emotional decision making, time leverage through proper professional management. Some of the challenges, of course, are heavy reliance on third party property management, less immediate visibility into issues, higher importance on reporting, inspections, and controls. Poor management equals silent cash flow erosion. Best fit for with out-of-state landlords, with property management, DSCR and cash flow investors, portfolio and multifamily market operators, buy and hold, stabilize assets, investors focused on scale and efficiency. The real difference isn't distance, it's infrastructure. Out-of-state investing only works if you have strong property management vetting, clear reporting standards, scheduled inspections, not reactive ones, vendor controls and approval thresholds, reserves for repairs and capex, written communication protocols. Local landlords rely on presence. Out-of-state landlords rely on process. Melissa, good morning. Welcome. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to property management, the new deal, or the deal killer.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Clubhouse. I am Melissa Cain, the founder of Busy Bee Virtual Solutions. I'm located in the Mitten. You guys are getting a lot more snow than we are. I'm a little bit further north this time. But last week, my husband and I actually drove through a couple of snowstorms to Grand Rapids, Michigan, because he was presenting at the DeVos Center. So, you're starting a new business, you got to do what you got to do, right? As for property management, man, this is a really great topic today. Property management doesn't kill your deals. It's the unmanaged information behind it. And that's where a good bookkeeping pro like my company, Busy Bee Virtual Solutions, can help a real estate investor or real estate savvy. I have a client who has 60 doors, mostly single family homes here in Muskegon, Grand Rapids, West Michigan area. She does use a property management company, and I take the information from the owner statements, input that into QuickBooks, and provide her deliverables every month so that she can keep track of her numbers, because we know it is very important to keep track of those numbers. Property management isn't the villain or the hero, it's a force multiplier. Good systems equal deal accelerator, bad systems, deal assassin. And we should all know today, investing requires tighter operations than 5 years ago. Everything's tighter than 5 years ago, right, Joe? And last but not least, I want to land on this one because I have seen it. Several of my clients have moved from property manager to property manager. So make sure you are managing those property managers. You can do it yourself, or you can do it with the help of a bookkeeper. Just make sure they have good systems. Interview them first, especially if you're going to do out of state. I cannot stress that enough. And that's what I'm going to land on, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. I'm still traumatized when I was at Grand Rapids when it was a frozen tundra for that event a couple of years ago. I'm still emotionally I think I have PTSD from how cold that place was.
Well, I will tell you, I'm still friends with some people in the Denver market, and she said we're getting more snow here in Michigan than they are in Denver. So yeah, that's interesting. Denver
was cold when I was out there. Woof, woof. Whoosh. It goes right through your skin, right through your bones, man. It was.
Well, it's wearing layers.
Yeah.
That's what we get used to in the cold weather. You wear layers and just rip it off if you get hot, right?
Yep, I got it. Yep. Well, thank you for your insight this morning. I always appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
So, some top U.S. markets that really I see in 26 have really looking into heavy property management, and these are good markets. I think they're markets you want to consider when you're looking as an out-of-state investor. I like Naples, Florida. I like Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Arkansas. I like Cape Coral, Florida. I like Trenton, the surrounding area of Trenton, New Jersey. Not Trenton itself. It's a tough place to manage. Youngstown, Ohio. Really high gross rental yields. Really incentivizing investors and property managers. Flint, Michigan. Gary, Indiana. Brownsburg, Indiana. Fairport, New York, that whole upper area, Rochester, Syracuse, Binghamton, a lot of opportunity up there. Certain areas of Texas are still pretty good, like Cedar Park and Pflugerville. Birmingham, Alabama is definitely a great, strong cash flow rental market and a classic choice for out-of-state investors. Why these markets matter for property managers? Strong rent growth, tight vacancy, typically require more hands-on property management, from efficient turnover to rent adjustment and maintenance coordination. Many of these markets are affordable, growing, high yield, and smaller metros or towns. How to evaluate a small property management market where you can get a little more bang for your buck with the management company. When determining which markets to target for property management growth, consider rent growth trends. Areas with rents rising faster than wages typically need more professional oversight. Population job growth, inbound migration fuels long-term rental demand. Housing affordability, lower cost markets with solid rent demand attract investors relying on property management services. And the investor activity. Areas with high investor ownership often outsource management. The opposite's happening in Philadelphia, where people are moving out. And there's just so many rentals hitting the market that it's just a flooding of them. So like rents are dropping. Days on the market for selling houses are up. Inventory's up. But for whatever bizarre reason, people are in very deep denial of a market like Philadelphia. And there's a lot of other markets just like that. But the suburbs, man, you can't find anything in the suburbs. Like great opportunities. If you find something, it's like you better jump on it. It will be gone. So very interesting. And there's some other markets like where some of the moderators are. The surrounding areas of the major city is doing better than the city itself. Felix, good morning. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview: who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion. Property management, the new deal or deal killer.
Grand Rising, Joe. Grand Rising, everybody. Felix Buchanan Sr, the JLix Group, Buchanan Biz Enterprises, team leader of Keller Williams Legacy Team in Baltimore. I was a real estate agent as of 2005. I started doing property management in 2006. I did more of it probably when I was in the beginning of my real estate career, more so than I do it now. It's definitely a case by case basis. It definitely has to be the ideal client. However, everything that everyone said, right on target. Your bookkeeping has to be in order. You have to have really good systems, processes, screening the tenants, um, checking their job history, checking their employment. You have to be really good at that. You have to make sure that you stand on that because depending on what type of tenants that you have, I've dealt with voucher holders, market tenants. I've dealt with traveling nurses now. It's transitional homes, so each category is different. You have to understand what platform you're looking to do property management on. Your vendors is very important. Definitely have the proper people that are there and able to fix whatever issues in which that you come across. Your communication with your owners has to be very, very clear, concise, efficient, because you have owners that will drop the ball in situations where they don't respond in enough time, which puts you in a bind with the tenant in the sense that this could be something that needs to be handled immediately and the owner's not responding. Um, Cleanup, you know, it's snowing, making sure that you're able to have someone out there to clean up the snow because that's a hazard to the tenant. Just all types of different things you just want to make sure that you have covered from the property management standpoint. And obviously, because that's something I've been involved in for a long time, a lot of these things just jump right off the top of my head that you just want to make sure that you have in order. You want to make sure that you screen these property management companies thoroughly. It's very necessary. It's always been necessary. Just like Stephen said in the beginning, either you're going to property manage it yourself or you're going to pay the money for it to be done. So that's my knowledge and wisdom for today. And back to you, Joe.
Felix, are you doing property maintenance now, or are you involved with any type of maintenance and management?
I do because I have a lot of owners in which that I deal with that even if I'm not managing the property, they'll still call me for the things that need to be done in the properties.
Mhm. Are you charging a fee for maintenance? How are you handling that? Uh,
So I charge just strictly based off from a contracting standpoint that whatever you need, whether it's plumber, HVAC, electric, whatever needs to be done, I come in there, get a scope of work, see what needs to be done, and then I give them a price, and then that's pretty much it.
Got it. Now, where are you seeing the Baltimore market right now? I hear it's getting, I mean, it's tougher than Philly, man, but the surrounding areas, are you seeing more promise, for opportunity?
Like you said, in the outskirts.
Yeah.
Baltimore City is super tough right now. On a flip standpoint, it's always going to be a good rental market because people in Baltimore City always still need somewhere to live.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they actually rent more in Baltimore City in many areas than they do in owning. It's only the stronger neighborhoods that you would have in Baltimore City, but the surrounding counties, of course, the flip market is going to be a little tight here because it was already tight in Baltimore County or Anne Arundel County. Maybe PG County has a little bit more life and some certain areas they're expanding into. But it's only certain nooks and crannies in Baltimore and Anne Arundel County until, you find another area to develop. But over the years, pretty much even the worst of our areas, whether it was Dundalk all the way down to Woodlawn, that if there were many bad areas in those areas, they were fixed up over the years. So you don't even, you just got to find those deals. To me, like we talked about last week, it's more helping these owners turn them into rental properties and then now doing property management, but not just doing a market tenant or a voucher rental, more so than doing a traveling nurse or dealing with a transitional home or an Airbnb. Now helping them fill up the Airbnbs, put money towards helping them get it up to par and then getting a percentage on the back end.
Interesting perspective. It's funny, you just brought up Dundalk. People used to have a joke about it. Now it's a great rental market. You know, like they used to joke about it, like you're from Dundalk. You know what I mean? Now
Because it was trash.
yeah. Now it's a great rental market.
Yep.
It's just astonishing what almost 20 years. I mean, when the hell did I live down there? Like that area? Oh my God. Got to be 18, 20 years ago now, but it was a different market. I mean, like it's crazy what's really going on. And just the suburbs of some of these cities are just doing so much better. Like Harrisburg and York, people don't want to own any Harrisburg, New York, but the surrounding area is crushing it, like literally crushing it. It's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Just like y'all said last week too, Delaware. That's a market that I started looking at like a year or so ago.
I love Delaware.
Huh?
I wish I could do more in Delaware business wise.
That's a market that I was looking into until this thing happened in Philly. That market was starting to kind of, change and have a different trajectory. Certain parts of New Jersey, but you just got to make sure that you know what those areas are and make sure that you find the local rules and pay attention to that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's funny. I'm going to be going out to Austin, Texas next week. And I'm also going to be in Atlanta a couple weeks right afterwards because I'm starting to travel again with this new position, underwriting for and doing more origination on a higher level. And they got me going to a lot of markets right now. It'll be very interesting to see suburb versus urban settings with a lot of these smaller cities. But I mean, I'm due to go out to Pittsburgh again, Oklahoma, going up to Boston. But I mean, like I saw the article today. I talked about. Hartford, Connecticut. I mean, that whole area is just awesome. It's a great area to live, but I mean, some of these places you can't live cheap. So it's kind of interesting. So I still think like Delaware and the greater Baltimore area, the DMV corridor, there's still affordability and opportunity.
Correct, but like you said, Hartford, Connecticut, that's like you said, you got to have money. So you want to go to the areas, which why I don't do a lot in New York. I'm from New York, but I do more stuff. And then you name markets that already did a lot of wholesaling in the Carolinas, the Georgias, because Georgia had many other areas other than Atlanta, like Stone Mountain, Cypress, different areas there. And then, of course, Texas, I lived there as well. So these are all markets that with them coming to being have already had some level of footprint in them, it brings a benefit to me there as well.
Yep. Well, thank you, Felix, for stopping by here.
Yes,
as always, I've known Felix a very long time. We're just getting older and better looking as we progress. So, so what can you do better, with the relationship between you and your property management with your investment properties, right? And it's a good question. Honestly, investors who get the right get this right outperform the long term. The best landlord property manager relationships operate more like strategic partnerships, not vendor relationships. Set expectations like a business agreement, not a hope and a pray. Most friction comes from assumptions. Be explicit about response time, approval thresholds, leasing standards, rent increasing philosophy, and treat them as a partner, not a cost center. Property managers run thin margin businesses, right? Ways to build goodwill, pay on time, don't nickel and dime the minor repairs, respect their expertise on tenant behavior and local market dynamics, loop them into acquisition decisions early. Creating clear financial guardrails, nothing strains trust like money confusion. Establish maintenance reserve levels. That's very important, actually. CapEx versus repair definitions, vendor bidding rules, and emergency authority limits. Smart investors empower property managers to act quickly within guardrails instead of bottlenecking decisions. Communicate on schedule, not emotionally. Random reactive calls equal burnout. Do some more monthly or quarterly check-ins, written updates, agenda-driven conversations. Align incentives where possible. If your property manager only gets paid on gross rent, your goals may drift. Better alignment options, leasing bonuses for strong tenants, renewal incentives, performance benchmarks. Be decisive. Delay, nothing frustrates a property manager faster than delayed approvals, mixed messages. Give clear authority, make fast calls, and own the outcome. Share the bigger picture. Property managers work hard when they understand why. Tell them your whole timeline, BRRRR, long-term, sale, refinance plans, value-add strategy, expansion goals. Hold each other accountable professionally, right? Understanding market comps and written follow-ups and regular performance reviews, and give good feedback and appreciation, acknowledging good leasing and recognizing fast resolutions. Know when it's not the right fit. Even good property managers aren't right for every investor. Red flags, poor communication, defense behavior, chronic vacancy, no data or reporting, high staff turnover. Bottom line, the strongest investor portfolios are built when owners set vision plus capital strategy. Property managers execute operations flawlessly. When these roles are aligned, performance compounds. Good morning, Mr. Dave Bergio. Welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to property management, the new deal or deal killer.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. Hope some of y'all aren't as snowed in as bad as we are. But my name is Dave Bergio. I'm one of the owners and founders of Trifecta Credit Solutions here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where we help people and businesses and investors go from credit to capital. Get credit right, get your capital right, get out of debt. I think that's going to be the big thing of 2026, helping people restructure that. Yeah, man, talking about property management here, I look at it, from a business and an operational standpoint. And I think and I'm not going to say the people on this call, obviously, but a lot of people, especially with a lot of people coming into our ecosystem, Joe, they don't treat it as a business. All right, they look at it as, oh, I'm going to be an investor. I'm going to do this. This is going to be a hobby, and it's my first thing always to them is, listen, man, this is a business. Okay, you're going to have these pieces together. You're going to need to manage it. You're not just going to get quote unquote passive residual income, as a lot of people say, and you're going to be rich overnight off of $300 a month in cash flow. Like it doesn't work that way, and I always think that's the biggest misnomer coming in is, hey, it's just a little side hustle, a little business thing. Now, with that being said, is treating it like a business, right? Putting the pieces in place. That's super important. It's no different than my company or any other business out there. I read Atomic Habits recently, and one of the best quotes that James Clear has in that book, I've read it a couple times now, and it always sticks out, and it applies to anything. And it's been said by a bunch of you guys already here, talking about systems. It's you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fail to the level of your systems. So I think it's important when you're having these systems in place to run a property management company, to be a part of your team. You are the CEO of this, okay? You are putting these pieces together. And it's just like anything else. It's, hey, these are our core values. This is our mission statement as to what we're doing. What are your core values? What are your mission statement? Do you buy into what we're doing here? Because yes, you are essentially the middleman between us and the building and tenants, okay? We have to vibe on that same page. Very important. And I'll leave you with the last thing, and it goes back to the owner side. I'm not going to hammer this too hard because you guys all had some great talking points on it. But as running a business or an operation, one of my mentors taught me the most important thing you have to do it very frequently is you got to inspect what you expect. Okay, so you can't take your eye off the ball. Joe, you said an interesting stat earlier. One of you guys did. Might have been Steven, I don't remember, but you said you had 98% occupancy and then down to 45. And then it goes down to, okay, well, you learn from that, obviously, but you inspect what you expect. And look, we get it. Things happen in life, right? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect, right? Because there's sometimes where you let things do slip through the cracks. And it's okay. Now we got to look at this. What's the pivot? What do we do from here? Do we have this conversation? Hey, what was core value? Did we drop the ball on here? What do we... this happen or that happen, or do you just get rid of them completely, put them in the next system, and then run the play over and over again? Yeah, man, guys, that's all I got. Appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Joe, back to you, my man.
Thank you, Dave. Dave, I'll be sending you a very nice big database very soon. I'll give you a call this afternoon about it. I'll make sure I send it. It's like I finally put it together. That's one thing. So, Dave and I collaborate and co-host an event every month in Lehigh Valley, second Wednesday. It's really taken shape since the holiday party, even more so. We had like 120 people at our holiday party in Easton, and now the event the second Wednesday is now really taking shape of some really good content. I mean, Dave, just give some insight to that real quick, and then I know rumor has it we might be having a cigar event with a former boxing champion. I heard.
Yeah, I mean that second Wednesday of every month event, it's creating a buzz. It's creating a kind of new investor base. The good thing with some of this new investor base too is a lot of them have cash or assets already ready to go, and it's just a lot of people that are eager to learn. But I think the cool thing about it is the community that's starting to be created out of it, it's going to cross over into a lot of different other business just besides real estate.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of unique verticals, within that. And Joe, you touched on the Lehigh Valley earlier. As to where it's going to go, and there's some interesting statistics about properties sitting on the market a long time. But I love that Wednesday event, man. It's been awesome. I think there's some things that we could do to make it grow even better, and I'll talk to you more about that as well. But yeah, this other event that's coming up that we're working on, particularly in my home, the East of Pennsylvania. Those of you that are sports fans, sure some of you have heard of the Easton Assassins before. Larry Holmes, his son Larry Jr., a good friend of mine for over 30 years, opened a amazing cigar lounge here in downtown Easton. Downtown Easton, for those of you that don't know, it's pretty much a spot now for very high-end stuff, high-end restaurants, high-end meeting spots. Pomfret Club's still here. Now you have Legend Cigar Bar, which is there, and it's a really good spot that we're looking to hold a cigar night, cigar lounge, bar. The more we have details on it, we'll definitely let you guys know. A little change of pace from just meeting up at spots. Cigars, a little biased opinion of me, but cigars are always where the magic happens.
Oh, absolutely. I was down in Atlantic City with Yardell yesterday and grabbed a cigar with the cigar whisperer, Kobe, and we had a great time. Great cigar, and learned and found out when you're there. We were talking real estate and I was finding all kinds of information out. So it was kind of interesting. So hanging out at a cigar bar, you're usually hanging out with some serious business professionals. It's a fact. People are extremely engaged at cigar lounges. Right, Dave?
To touch on that too, when we had our unfortunate event last week, we had a funeral of a close friend here, but it brought a bunch of us together. Half of those people that are down there that I grew up with, some of them do know you, Joe. Some of them see the event we're doing. Some of them are in real estate, are investors. They're actually looking forward to coming to our Wednesday event. They're also looking to do business.
Yeah.
And all that because of, not only friendship relationships growing up, but that all happened in a cigar bar.
Well, I could say I met the love of my life in Easton. I met my wife in Easton at the festival, the Lebanese festival. So you see what happens, you can even find love in Easton. You see, isn't that amazing?
No comment.
Yeah. Well, Dave, thank you as always. And guys, why did I segue to Dave about events? If you're not holding an event for yourself to be the network in your market, you need to think about that going into 26 here. There's a unique opportunity being a host or hostess to a business related or networking related event and making other people feel part of something with you. Like you're providing, you're giving back, right? And you're getting too. Hopefully it's a reciprocal relationship as well. So I throw that out there because there's so many different ways to make a difference in your space. Like, yeah, I'm here on Clubhouse, but I don't know if a lot of you realize this gets thousands of views a week outside of Clubhouse on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube. The segue to leading into talking to more people. So yeah, there's only 20 or so people in this room right now. I care less because the right people are in this room. And the thousands of people that are looking and downloading this podcast afterwards is more as important as the 20 people in this room and the moderators in this room. So that's the beauty. We have a website. We have a newsletter. We have monthly events. We have educational events as well. That's what we're providing here. And this subject today ties key into people you want to surround yourself with, which is property management. What are the best systems for a property owner leveraging property management? Is communication and task management, right? That is so key. And having regular reports and operating maintenance systems in place together, financial and accounting systems together, leasing and tenant life cycle systems together, having a playbook working together. It's a team effort. You can't be completely hands off. A property owner gets the best results when systems are documented, measured, automated, reviewed on schedule, and communicated clearly. Deborah, good morning. Welcome from Las Vegas. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to property management, the new deal or deal killer.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. And it's warm in Las Vegas. Sorry, guy.
Killing us.
Yeah, I love property management managers, and I deal with them a lot. I send clients, their way. They're a big part of real estate for a realtor. So I really appreciate what you guys do. I know it's not easy. I would not want to do it, myself. That's why they're out there. And Joe, I don't know if you've heard of Renters Warehouse, but they offer a 24-hour portal for their owners, for their landlords. It's pretty much automated now, but they charge a flat fee, and I don't know if that's popular where you are, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But they're starting that, and I just think property management is very necessary in today's market with all the renters and landlords, and
So I got a question for you there, because I feel like the Las Vegas airport is the most convenient airport to get anywhere in the world than anywhere else, right? Are you seeing the suburbs, more mid-level management executives moving there, taking advantage of the vast transportation options to go elsewhere for their company and for their business? Are you seeing that staying steady in the suburb areas of Las Vegas, more so, where people are moving there because of the convenience of travel for their company or their job? Are you seeing that at all?
Oh, yes. And we do have a very convenient airport. It's expanded and grown, and traffic has gotten much better. So yes, Joe, I see it. And people, the top people moving here are, I think, California and East Coast. So yeah, we're expanding. There's new homes everywhere, and yes, people come in. We get millions and millions of visitors going through that airport. It's just amazing how structured it is and how efficient it is. So yes, Joe. Yeah.
So are you seeing more of a presence in property management in the suburbs because of that?
Yeah, the old ones are still here pretty much. Newer ones are popping up, like these flat fee companies.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, definitely. Property management is a big thing out here.
Yeah.
So yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you very much for calling in from sunny Las Vegas. We all despise you right now because of the snow. So, it's kind of funny. Dave and I were just talking about Easton and Bethlehem and Allentown. When I had owned properties up there, when I met my wife, there was no property management. I was going up there every weekend because of the lack of property management. Now you're falling on top of property managers. It's just quite ironic how 15 to 20 years make a difference in a market. And property management is now more important than ever before because of non-QM lending and the conveniences of scaling in an unregulated lending environment. So property management ties very parallel to non-QM lending. Like I probably have a meeting with one property management company or another almost twice a month. Like I just had a great meeting with a property management company in Philadelphia, and their investor base as well. And their investor, they own 100+ stores themselves. And we got right into it. We're already having lunch again. We're having a follow-up. I just got an email from them about another deal. It's the property management company, real estate offices, sales offices, I think get it a little more than just a standard real estate office. And I think they see the market opportunity for themselves because people want to be hands-off, but yet scale their portfolio. It's about cash flow. It's the bottom line. But it's really interesting watching this and this discussion where it's leading. So Linda, good morning and welcome. Been a minute. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to property management, the new deal or deal killer.
Morning, Joseph. I hope everyone's doing great. Good morning, investors. My name is Linda Pliagas, and I'm the owner of Realty411.com. We're a news and information website. We cater to real estate investors and the real estate professionals that assist them. And we publish magazines, host webinars and events, all in an effort to help investors in their journey. Now, in regards to property managers, definitely good property management will either make or break your deal without a doubt. And I'm so glad that you're covering property management on this show because it's so important for investors. It's extremely important to choose an honest and qualified professional. And I recommend that you start by interviewing property managers even before you acquire your rental property in that area. That's how important it is. I also recommend doing business with, excuse me, with people that refer property managers to you. If there's certain property managers that have a lot of get referred a lot, you definitely want to interview them. I also recommend you purchase in a large enough area where numerous property managers exist. Joseph mentioned that he had to travel a lot because there were no property managers in that area when he started. That can be a big problem. So you definitely want to try and invest in areas that are large enough and that have multiple property managers in that market. That way you can interview several managers all at once, pick your favorite one, and also choose a backup manager just in case. I made the mistake of purchasing a rental once in Texas in a small area, and they didn't have a lot of property managers. And I really suffered because of that decision. I had to really be more hands-on than I wanted to be because I wasn't that happy. That's why I just thoroughly recommend you buy in a large enough area where they do have multiple property managers that you can work with. Now, communication is very important. I would recommend that you coordinate and share some special instructions with your property manager, or maybe have a cap on what they can spend on your property without your permission and prior authorization. That way there's no surprises at the end of the month. These are just some tips I have. Great topic. Thank you so much for the time. Joseph, back to you.
Thank you, Linda, as always. There's always important questions that you need to ask your property manager. Okay. How do you handle vacancies from notice to new tenant? And what are your average days on the market? What authority do you have on maintenance and what requires owner approval? Why this matters? It reveals decision speed and cost control and trust expectations. How do you screen tenants and what standards will you not bend on? Why this matter? Bad tenants destroy cash flow faster than bad deals. How do you communicate with owners and what reporting do I need to receive in monthly and quarterly? Why? Professional property managers run on systems and reportings, not on like BS updates, right? If it was their property, what would you do differently than most owners? This exposes their experience, confidence, and whether they think like an owner. I want to know that they own properties too, potentially. Like, how involved are they in the same market I'm in? These are things you need to think about when you're discussing the property management role and the new deal or the deal killer. Ron, good morning. Welcome. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, the new deal or deal killer in property management.
Hi, my name is Ronald. I own properties in the Philadelphia and Baltimore city, and I want to thank you for recommendation about the property management. I'm working with them. I'm very pleased, but there are two areas that I would like to ask the panel itself, how can I improve? Area number one is how to manage the potential for churning by the property management on high value maintenance. I'm not talking about $100 or $200 bills for maintenance. I'm talking the thousands. But in these cases, I had to provide them with the counter proposal so they can encourage their vendor to reduce the bill. So I'm looking for more ideas from the panelists of how can I prevent churning. And the second question is about rent increase. How can I incentivize the property management with annual rent increase initiated by them, so they know the market a lot better than me, and they can tell and can advise whether it's a 5% increase recommended or whatever percentage. And I prefer that it will be initiated by them, not by me, calling them annually and requesting increase. Thank you. I yield.
Ron, thank you. You're kind of in a tough spot with Philadelphia because you're seeing a slumping in the market in rentals. Days on the market on rentals are up. Getting a qualified tenant in, whether from a affordability voucher from a Section 8 or some type of other, affordable housing, is going to be very interesting the rest of this year because the housing authority is now in the property management business as well as property management ownership. So it's going to be interesting how they prioritize who and where the vouchers go. And I find that a lot of the affordable housing Section 8 holders are a little more particular now of the type of spaces that they're renting. A lot of the bigger multifamily buildings in most of the cities throughout the country are making a mandatory 30% of affordable housing units available for the vouchers out there. So, rents are compressing. DSCR is compressing in a lot of the urban settings. Incentifying somebody with the property management perspective is one, like, what is the game plan for your property? Like, how long are you staying in that space? Is it a long-term hold? How are you renovating these properties, especially in the turnover? I'm not a big fan of allowing the property management to do the maintenance turnover of a unit. I like to have an independent group to do the work. One, it gives me a better perspective on the property while turning over to the next tenant. And I might want to do certain things to make the unit a little more resilient for the next tenant, because it maybe I learned something, maybe some additional backsplashes and protective measures to the walls and lighting fixtures and moldings and stuff like that, like the flooring. You want a really good hard flooring. So the management company is typically not always the best one to go to do the turnover maintenance to the next tenant. So communicating between maybe your independent maintenance group and the management company might be better, especially in Philadelphia. But right now, if you're looking at the numbers, I mean, days on the market for rentals are up 3 to 4 months in a market like Philadelphia. I'd be very concerned about getting the right tenant in. Not saying that you have to be super picky, but you got to be super smart on who you're putting in that unit. And your Section 8 is almost near equivalent to market in probably half or more of the neighborhoods in Philadelphia. So you're kind of in an interesting spot right now. You're technically in 2009, 2010 in Philadelphia right now. So I don't know how far back you go in economic cycles of Philadelphia, but this is definitely post, not mortgage collapse, but mortgage reset with inventory and days on the market. And I don't think Philadelphia is any different than a lot of other markets. Days on the market is up everywhere. Okay. I think, you got to just be a savvier investor and great communication skills in maintaining your properties and being smart and not pointing fingers, because so a lot of people are listening in today, they're real estate investors, right? And there's the real estate professional, and everybody has vast opinion differences. I personally think, that property management is not going away. It's only going to increase because I think people want to scale. They have to look at the cash flow. You got to look at your net profitability per month. You got to include property management fee at least 10%. I think, Deborah brought up these flat fee opportunities. I'm not a big fan of those. I'm not really a fan. If you're not paying at least 10%, you're not really getting good property management. I mean, that's just a physical numerical fact. I think these discount property management software companies you're going to get what you pay for, and your results are going to kind of bleed through into the property when it could be potentially banged up by a really bad tenant. I think you're going to have some concerns with affordability in some markets, especially the suburban surrounding areas of a lot of cities. And the cities are going to become affordable again because people want to get the heck out of the cities. Now there's all this influx of new rental availability, and it's the problem. New construction. Well, nobody's building to own in these urban cities anymore right now. It's kind of like halted. Anything they're building right now is for rental. So you're bringing a lot more rentals to the market. Yeah, I know we have a housing shortage, but the rental shortage is definitely not there. I mean, when you can get a 1-bedroom apartment above a Trader Joe's on downtown Philadelphia and on Market Street for $1,200 a month, that same 1-bedroom, if you take the train over into New Jersey, into Collingswood or Haddon Heights, is $1,500 to $1,800 to $2,000 a month. So now the roles have reversed, where at one time renting was like everybody wanted to go back into the cities because theater, the arts, jobs, all the jobs now kind of left the city markets, and they're back into the suburban settings, and they're virtual. So for somebody that can work virtual, they rather work in an area where they can walk around and feel safe in the evening and the suburban environment, and there's just as much entertainment, accessibility to time with friends and family. So I think that we're evolving in this property management space. I think there's, if I was a real estate agent, I was a little quiet, I'd probably look at property management. I'd look at working side by side with a property management company in my space, because I feel like we're in a buyer's market, and I don't foresee it shifting post Super Bowl. I have some concerns where the market is going from a home ownership perspective. So my final thoughts to property management, the dealer and deal killer. Property management isn't an afterthought. It's an operating engine of the deal. You can buy right, finance creatively, and renovate beautifully, but poor management will quietly destroy returns through vacancy, deferred maintenance, tenant friction, and sloppy reporting. On the flip side, strong property management compounds value, stabilized cash flow, cleaner books, higher appraisals, and smoother exits. And I bring up appraisals because appraisals are getting tougher and tougher. Comps are less and less. In today's market, tighter margins, higher debt costs, and more selective capital, execution matters more than ever. The right property manager protects NOI, enforces discipline, and becomes a strategic partner. The wrong one turns a solid acquisition into a constant fire drill. Bottom line, property management doesn't just run the deal, it decides the deal. Investors who scale don't just underwrite properties, they underwrite operators. I want to thank everyone for their engagement today. The moderators were fantastic, bringing some great insight. We're here every Saturday morning. every Sunday morning, providing education, networking opportunities. We're now offering an opportunity to collaborate on an underwriting course nationwide. We're now going into our 3rd month doing it. It's a 9 to 3 course on Saturdays. I come in, we have a whole discussion on underwriting, how to pencil the deal down from the beginning to the end, whether it's single family to 4 family, 5+ units, fixed to rent, fixed to flip, new construction. We dive into it. If you'd like to collaborate on a white label course whether you want to be a broker, capital partner, you want to be a referral partner, in the investment space, or you want to be direct to investor, this class is extremely, there's no other group on this app offering this. There's no other group on this app that has their own website with 150 episodes of our podcast. There's not another group in this clubhouse that has 10,000 plus downloads of our different updates. Okay, we have a newsletter on LinkedIn with all the follow-up articles of all our discussions. Please be part of it. Please take part of it. If we can interview you and help expand your market, we now offer podcast opportunities as well. We could put an interview together. Love to have those opportunities as well. My quote this morning: being attacked is proof you're important enough to be a target. Life isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to test you. Obstacles aren't punishments. They're invitations. Relish the pressure. Pressure is a privilege. I want to thank all our moderators. I want to thank Yardell Perkins of Perkatech providing all this insight on our podcast every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Have a fantastic week. Stay warm. Enjoy the snow if it's coming down. If it's a beautiful weather, enjoy the day. And we'll see you next Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day and be well. And I'm ending the room in the next 30 seconds.